welcome any online Zoom viewers. We are having technical difficulties here at the church. We appreciate you joining us both in person here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. And if there are technical difficulties that come in the way of our at-home participants being able to follow the service, we hope to have a recording of the service available in a couple of days. So thank you all for being here. Uncertainty beyond the old choices for clear-cut answers to a softer, more permeable aliveness, which is every moment perhaps at the brink of death. For something new is being born in us if we but let it. We stand at a new doorway, awaiting that which comes, daring to be human creatures, vulnerable to the beauty of existence, learning to love. Thank you all for being here with us today for our Valentine's service for all ages with a title, Love Will Keep Us Together. And now those opening words are by the poet Anne Hillman, and I'd like to invite forward Melina Cretier as she will be lighting our chalice, and our worship associate David Adams will be starting the chalice lighting in our covenant. Yes.
Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the entire congregation, I welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Shenandoah Valley. I am David Adams, your worship associate for today's service. We come together each Sunday morning as a community of seekers. Seekers of what is most important in our lives. Seekers of understanding in the face of uncertainty and loss. Seekers of forgiveness for our own shortcomings. Seekers of gratitude for the unexpected gifts we receive from all around us. We gather in awe of the beauty of nature and in the mysteries of the universe. But most importantly, we come together as seekers of a community of love and empowerment, celebrating our search for truth and meaning in our daily lives. So Melina is here, and she'll be lighting the chalice as we say the words for lighting the chalice. The script, doesn't quite work. Yeah, okay. All righty. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, to share. And I invite you to join with us as we say our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. To dwell together in peace. To seek the truth in freedom. And to help our neighbors. To these ends, we covenant one with another.
And now that we're back back at church, we're also able to have our cello singers with us, even though we're not singing from our hymn book like we like to do. So I'd like to invite forward our choir to sing an opening song for us from our hymnal supplement. This is a song by Harry Belafonte.
Jesus was a teacher long ago of love and compassion. When Jesus spoke to his followers, it was often about how to share more, love more, and forgive more. Jesus also talked a lot about the great unfolding mystery named love. He called it God the way many other people do. Sometimes Jesus' followers needed help to understand his teachings, so he told stories to help them understand. We call those parables. This is one of the parables that Jesus told his followers. It's about a shepherd. A shepherd is someone who cares for sheep, who makes sure their bellies are full and they're safe from predators, because a lot of critters would hurt sheep if they could. In the days when Jesus told this story, a shepherd wouldn't have a fancy pen or corral for her sheep. There was no fence to create a big space for her flock. Instead, she would have had to take her sheep out into the hills to fill their bellies. In this parable, the shepherd didn't have just 1, or 4, or 10 sheep. She had 100 sheep. Can you imagine how loud and smelly it would be if there were 100 sheep here in the sanctuary? At the beginning of each day, the shepherd took all 100 sheep to the hills of green grass and counted to make sure they were all there. At the end of the day, she brought them home again, counting to make sure that all 100 sheep had come home. The shepherd came home one night, counted her sheep, and saw only 99 instead of 100. She counted to make sure, and then again. And even though it was cold and dark, and there were critters in the hills that might hurt a shepherd too, she left the 99 sheep who were safe at home and went out to find the lost sheep who was in danger. When Jesus told his parable to his followers, he was trying to tell them two things. First, that the great unfolding mystery that we call love and that some call God loves each of us so much that love will always, always go to those who are left behind or in danger. Second, we understand ourselves to be part of the great unfolding mystery called love. Most of us who are Unitarian Universalists want to be like that great unfolding mystery. We want to be love's partner and its helper. That means we are the shepherd. When everyone else is safe, we're called to notice the few who are in danger and go out into the cold and dark to be with them. Love doesn't rest and wait. Love, in the form of the shepherd, leaves comfort behind to be a helper.
Thank you, Rachel. And before we continue on with our service, I do want to invite you into a time of silence, something that we've done actually every single week since the pandemic began in March of 2020. We pause for silence, recognizing that we're living in unusual times, and every time we come together in person or online, we're all carrying a lot of concerns about ourselves, our families, and the world, such as it is. And this Sunday in particular, on top of all the other things that have been going on, many of us are feeling concerned about the possibility of a war on the horizon. So we want to pause and acknowledge our concerns about that. And I invite you now into a time of silence where we can be together with our worries, with our compassion, with our best hopes for our own lives and the quality of life around the world during these most tumultuous times in which we're living. Please join me now in a silence. Our words of meditation this morning were written by a Unitarian Universalist minister, Frederick Gillis. They're from our hymnal. They remind us to remember our community wherever we might be. Spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward one another to bring into our circle of concern all who need our love and support at this time. Those facing illness, those in pain, either in body or spirit, those who are isolated, those who have been wronged. We are all part of a web of life that makes us one with the whole universe and all of humanity. We're grateful for the miracle of our human consciousness that we share, a consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to care for one another, and to love. Amen, and may it be so.
Theodore, Dostoevsky. Love all creation, the whole of it, and every grain of sand. Love every leaf. Love the animals. Love the plants. Love everything. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in all things. And once you have perceived it, you will begin to comprehend it ceaselessly, more and more every day. And you will come to love the whole world with an abiding universal love.
David loves that reading. We don't usually think of the Russian novelist Dostoevsky as a mystic exactly, but isn't that a lovely reading? A reminder of our seventh Unitarian Universalist principle, reminding us that we are all part of an interdependent web of life. Dostoevsky's reading also can remind us of this term that the late Thich Nhat Hanh introduced to us, which is also quite lovely, that term of interbeing. Love doesn't just keep us together, it joins us together in a shared experience of being, not doing, just being. I want to talk for a few minutes today to remind us of several ways in which love does really keep us together, perhaps especially at those times when we might need it most, like those lost sheep of Jesus' parable. Those times when we feel separated from our tribe, our people, our circle of family or friends, our community. This aggravating COVID virus has seriously put a damper in the usual ways that we like to be together. Not only has it gotten way beyond old at this point, it's been accompanied by an ever-changing emotional roller coaster of pandemic and political ups and downs. The whole thing is just so exhausting, and it's hard for any of us to remain centered and balanced through all this upheaval and change in our lives, let alone able to feel like we're able to stay connected to our personal support circle, family, friends, communities. But staying connected with others either in person or through all of our technological conveniences, as problematic as it can be at times, we know that today, is part of how we as individuals can stay actually more centered and balanced within ourselves. Sometimes we really need other people in our lives to help us stay connected with who we are in our hearts, at heart. But I would likely guess some of you might be thinking right about now, yeah, but I have had to spend loads and loads of time with just one other person or just a few other people in my family, and it gets to be a bit much sometimes, right? A couple in the church, who shall remain nameless, came up with a great expression just for this. It's hard to spend 48 hours a day with one person. I love that. We don't just get on our own nerves with our emotional struggles. We get on each other's nerves too, with the combination of all our emotional struggles, shifting and changing constantly under all of this prolonged COVID stress. So, we've all gotten a bit stir-crazy, feeling confined for so long. And winter hasn't helped, right? This year, I think we're all anxiously awaiting springtime much more than usual. We need those pretty days to lift our spirits and our moods, and we're looking forward to being able to get together, at least outside, since there are so many constant complications to gathering inside, especially while Omicron is certainly making the rounds. By now, all of us know quite a few more folks who have tested positive with COVID than at any earlier time. And we've learned the hard way by having our hopes dashed that we might be able to return to pre-COVID times more than once. We know that COVID variants will be keeping us on our toes for the foreseeable future. We just have to reconcile ourselves with the fact that taking safety precautions for our own health and the health of others will just be a standard part of our lives in the coming weeks, months, perhaps even years. Okay, we can do that. That's doable, right? We can get used to that. And many of us already have, or are at least starting to get used to it. Here at church, like everywhere else, every time we think we're headed out of the woods, we can reopen for Sunday services, resume things like singing and drinking our important coffee together. Then we enter a new woods. The original COVID-19, the Delta variant, now this feisty Omicron, and we know it's not going to stop there. As I've said up here many times in the last couple of years, it's not just the pandemic and the political roller coaster that we're on that we can't seem to find how to get off of. We're also being thrown off our balance regularly by unusual weather patterns that are coming our way with much greater frequency than in the past. This little thing we call climate change. My adult daughter and I were comparing weather notes the other day. She lives in Atlanta, and we both moved at the same time to where we are now from along the Gulf Coast with its own set of weather threats. My daughter Caroline said, "There's no normal anymore." She said it casually, but it kind of stopped me in my tracks for a moment. It rang true, and I was caught by surprise a little bit because it pointed out to me that I have been subconsciously thinking, okay, eventually things will get back to normal, or a new normal. But maybe there won't exactly be a new normal to get used to. Maybe we will all have to adjust to the fact that our living environments will be changing pretty quickly and steadily for some time to come. Instead of getting used to a new normal, we'll have to get used to frequent change. And not the little kind of change, but more substantial kinds of change. The good news is that we can do that. Life in general, and humans in particular, are designed to adapt to change. It doesn't mean we like it necessarily, or are even good at it, or even that everybody gets on board with it. No, that does not happen. But we do have an amazing capacity for resilience, coping, for creativity. The reason that love will keep us together is that there are really so many kinds of love. Other than the typical Valentine's Day romantic kinds of love that help us when we're struggling and that remind us who we are and that keep us more resilient and creative in responding to both life's changes and life's challenges. Let me run down a list of different kinds of love that both enrich our lives and make us stronger and happier people, which is what we need to get through these times. 1, love of nature. 2, love of family, even when we get on each other's nerves. 3, love of friends. And I mean all kinds of friends, from our neighbors to our besties, and even the online friends that some of us had made over these long months, but with whom we still enjoy friendship and companionship with. 4, love of animals. We know that for many of us, our pets are friends and family members. And we also get a lot of joy seeing animals around the world sharing this planet with us. We're not the only beings on this planet. Let's also remember number 5. Love of those dear ones who have died, but are not forgotten. They still bless our lives, and we are still in relationship with them through our enduring love. Number 6 is actually got lots of subcategories. There's hobby love, book love, fandom love, team love, and last but certainly not least, self-love. In these trying times, we need all the love we can get to keep us together. I know in these past 2 years, I have intentionally drawn on many of these kinds of love that were on the list just to simply keep it together for me. And we need to remember to treat those around us and ourselves in loving ways, supportive ways. When things get strange or challenging or awkward or even at times downright antagonistic, we need to show some love and cut each other and ourselves some serious slack, people, because we're living in stressful times. Right? The good news is that love can and does keep us together. And we're all better for it. But we have to practice it in all its various ways. I wish you love. I wish you bright blessings to you and all of yours. May it be so.
extinguishes the flame, let us all say together here from our homes the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of the truth, the warmth of our community, or the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. The purpose of this church is to encourage all who gather to grow more generous in spirit and in action. If you happen to be watching us online, we hope you will consider making an offer after today's service through our webpage, Shenandoah.org. This will allow us to exercise that generosity of spirit for this self-supporting church and its many ministries, which continue during this time when not all of us are able to be together physically. Thank you for joining us today.
Our closing words are again by the poet Anne Hillman. We are all on a journey together to the center of the universe. Look deep into yourself, into another. It is a center which is everywhere. That is a holy journey. First, you need only look. Notice and honor the radiance of everything about you. Play in the universe. Tend all these shining things around you. The smallest plant, the creatures and objects in your care. Be gentle and nurture. Listen. As we experience and accept all that we really are, we grow in care. We begin to embrace others as ourselves and learn to love as one among many. Go in peace, go in power, stay safe, stay strong, and we will see you next time.